Hi everyone, welcome to the Botanical Cake Studio. So recently in my Facebook group I've had quite a few questions asking about arranging flowers on cakes, and it seems that quite a few people lack confidence in this area. So I thought I'd put together a mini tutorial for you today to show you how I'm going to arrange these flowers on this dummy cake design here. And I've just actually done a tutorial for this white on white textured effect, which I will link to in YouTube as well. So I have a good selection of different size flowers here, and a little bit of foliage too. And then I have some extra wires in different strengths in case I need to lengthen or strengthen any of the stems. And I also have some green floral tape and some wire cutters and pliers. And then as I'm working on a dummy cake here, sometimes it can be quite tricky to actually insert the wires into the cake. So I have a paintbrush here with quite a narrow end, which I will use if I need to, just to help get a hole into the dummy cake design. But if you are working with a real cake, then make sure you use either plastic posy picks or some poly dowels to insert your wires into, and never insert raw wires into a real cake. So this is the selection of flowers I have to work with here. And it's good to have a good variety of shapes and sizes. So I have a dahlia, some cosmos, some phlox and some trailing jasmine foliage. And I'm just going to begin by holding the flowers up to the cake to have a play with where I'm likely to position them. It's always a good idea to get an idea of positioning before committing to actually putting them on the cake. And I've decided that this dahlia is going to be positioned at the front side here. So I'm just going to trim the stem. And then when inserting your flowers, just make sure that any leaves or any petals aren't going to hit against the cake when inserting it. So I've just moved these leaves forward. And I'm checking round the back as I'm inserting it so that I don't knock any of the rear petals. And I've just grabbed my pliers here to help give me a good grip to insert it into the cake. Now, as I'm working with a dummy cake here, it's quite tricky inserting the wires. With a fresh cake you should be able to just slide it straight in. So I'm now using the end of my paintbrush just to help make the hole a little bit longer and a little bit deeper. So I'm now just moving and having a play with the positioning of the flower. And I'm just taking a step back to see if I'm happy with the positioning. And if you're interested in learning how to make this dahlia, then I have a class for it in the online school. And there's a link in the video description where you can find this. So just keep moving around the angles of the flower until you're happy with it. And then I'm now going to add my cosmos. So I have two cosmos here which I've taped together. And I've just decided that I think these leaves are going to be in the way for where I want to insert the flowers, so I'm just sliding them round to the other side. And I'm just playing with the position of the cosmos. So I'm just going to take some 20 gauge wire and I'm going to strengthen the end of the cosmos stems to make it easier to insert into the cake. I've gone for quite a strong wire here because I'm inserting it into a dummy, but if you're inserting it into a fresh cake you wouldn't need to use such a strong wire. And if you're interested in learning how to make these cosmos, I have a free tutorial on the YouTube channel which I'll link to. And I'm just having a look at where the flocks might go to check that I have the right positioning for the cosmos. And I'm just going to trim the end of the wire down a little bit more. And I'm using my paintbrush again just to help get a deeper hole. And I'm now taking my jasmine foliage and having a play with where this might be positioned. So I'm actually just bending the wire around the dahlia stem just to hold the jasmine foliage temporarily in position, and that just gives me a little chance to play and check that I'm happy before committing to inserting it into the cake. So I'm just testing out a few ideas, and I think I'm going to go with the flocks. So I'm just unfolding the wire now, and I'm going to then attach the flocks and the jasmine foliage together to insert together. And I'm adding a bit of 20 gauge wire again to help strengthen the end. So I'm just stepping back and checking and then just tweaking the leaves and the petal positions. And there's a little gap underneath the cosmos here, so I think I'm just going to put these little flocks underneath. So again, I'm just strengthening the end of the wire with some 20 gauge. So I'm now looking at positioning some flowers coming out the top of the cake. And I like the look of these two cosmos here. So having them at different heights works well, so I'm just going to tape these together. So I've decided I want this dahlia to sit a little bit lower, so I'm just sliding it a bit down. And then these dahlia buds I want to be a bit more front facing. And the cosmos just needs to sit a little bit lower too, so I just trim the end off and reinserting it. And so now everything's in position. Just going to keep checking the front and just keep having a little fiddle until I'm happy with all of the positioning. And that's the finished arrangement.